People from Project Snug. Snug is, as I said, it spells guns backwards, and it's a violence intervention program called Ceasefire. Aside from listening to our youth, we're interested in what, first of all, what Project Snug does, how it works, what your involvement has been in it. Perhaps give us a little bit of the history in terms of how it started in New York, and what we can do.
We have a tough job. It's only about 12 of us as a street team. Not counting out the administration aspect, people that run the office and do a lot of good things behind the scenes. And primarily when you're on the streets and you're dealing with minds that easily ready to take a life. Young kids that don't care about the consequences and they just looking for that validation of being a thug or a gangster. That's what's up in their mind frame. And what we try to do, especially as an outreach worker, and I think all the components, the violent interrupters, the supervisors, the house responders, we try to get in the minds, because if we can change the mind state of these kids, then they're gonna not pick up a gun. So it's not so much about saying, well, don't pick up a gun. Change your thought of wanting to pick up a gun. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a challenge for a lot of us, because in our minds, it's all right to get shot. In the movie, he spoke about, when he was lying on the ground with bullets in him, that his man said, I told you to chill. He said, I'll try to chill, but how can I chill when I'm bad news? So it's back to that image. If it's all right for me to get shot, it's all right for me to take a life, then that's what it's about. And a lot of us been on that side before. We was in the streets, we was in the lifestyle, and we made mistakes. We've been incarcerated, so this makes us credible messages to come back to our community and get back. Myself, right up the street, I was involved in a street gang on the very same block. Before this college was built, I was on the streets, right on 119th Street in Lexington, being violent, being a part of the Bloods, selling crack cocaine. And for me now, it's a blessing, after serving 15 years of my life for being that way, to come home and try to get back to the community, especially the young people that's going to resemble me when they look in the mirror, who I used to be. So I think it's important that we focus on that, the mind state, and trying to help them adjust to just being regular people, who they really are, who they was born to be, not who the streets told them they have to be, by taking on the name of bad news or sea gutter or whatever type of name that's going to define that negative impact. So that's why that's one of the main things we do. And since we've been up since 2010, 2011, we reduced the shootings tremendously. In our target range, about 52% from last year. So that's a great jump from a team of 12 people who's on the streets. So we need more models like this. We need more programs to get involved.
Are you known then? And do people know you now? Yes. Okay, talk a little bit about that, because the problem is very networked, right? So 12 people, you're obviously having a big impact. So yeah, just talk a little bit about that.
But primarily, you asked, are we known? The plus side to this is that a lot of us was known in the streets prior to going to prison or doing what we was doing. So, for instance, I did 15 years in prison. Came home, that's a long time. So people are growing up, you got new crews that's out here, etc. But the fact that I still knew some of the old guys from the neighborhood, I was able to get in and be impactful. So that's one of the things that helps us when we build those relationships in the community, by mobilizing the community, doing events, by networking and building those relationships, because it might be an older OG or an older person who may have influence over that young kid. And that's what we use to kind of resolve situations and conflicts. So that's one of the ways we are known, and meeting new people and then meeting the old people and combining that relationships.
One of the things that's serious about this is that when we hire the people to actually do the job, the main thing is you got to have some type of credibility. Because we sending you back out there in the area that you once was a person causing hell in, right? So they not gonna just listen to anybody. Like if you send a college student over there, they gonna look at him funny because you know what? He either never been shot or he never bust that thing off, right? So bust that thing off is that gun, right? So at the end of the day, when you go into the hospital, like my first time going into the hospital was funny because it was a young kid. He had to be like 14, 15. So he was shot 2 times. And he hit me with the line is, you know, man, I'm shot, it's on, you ain't never been shot, so you don't know what you're talking about, so I had to leave it alone. So I went to go turn it off, right? But he thought I was turning off the lid. I just wanted to zip my jacket down for him, right? Because I got a gunshot wound on my arm, and I got another one on the back of my other arm, and I got the 2 gunshot wounds on my stomach, and I turned around and showed him my back, and then I told him my story, and then I looked at him again and I said, say this to me again, because I got shot twice, right? I got shot up in front of my house, on 131st between 7th and 8th, in front of my building, in front of my door at 8 o'clock in the morning. So that's 1. 2, I got shot up again on 132nd and 7th Ave, 2:30 in the afternoon. So tell me again, you can't do what? And he looked at me like this. But I'm saying that's gonna be kind of hard. Then dudes in the street gonna think I'm a sucker. But I said the dudes in the street ain't gonna take care of you and your mother, right? Because when you go up and do that 25, because that's what's gonna happen. The cops already know you in here, right? They already got in their mind that you about to go retaliate. So at the end of the day, your reality is gonna be this. It's gonna be 2 people out of the community. You're gonna kill him, and you're gonna do that 25. The people that you entertain in the street ain't gonna send you no package. They're not gonna visit you. The cops gonna tell you up stop how you gonna visit your mother, how long you can hug her, how long you can do everything. I said right now you got a chance to stop it, right? You got a chance to stop your homie from being in the casket. Instead of you seeing him off dead, you can see him off alive. Because some of y'all be the reason why y'all friends end up dead because y'all walk into their last hours. So the reality is we got to use credible messages. This would not work. And another part is like, you know, a lot of people feel bad about this, but we don't get a chance to work with the cops like that either because it stops us from being credible messages. A lot of people want to put that thing together and make it happen. We would love to, but arrests got to stop. And the part of being proactive got to happen because that's what we are. And another thing that's big about this is that we don't just use each other, we use them. Because what we do is we meet them where they at. Whatever mind they in, the pants sagging, do-rag on, always walking with his gun, we meet them like that. Our first week out there, we almost end up dying. Me, Jamal, Shy, Jimmy King, we working with 2 kids, we thinking that it's gonna be like a little simple talk, leave it alone, but the people that's coming to shoot him came to shoot him, and they asked us not to be involved. But that's what we first realized that we a team because nobody wanted to stop. Nobody wanted to see nobody die. And at the end of the day, like I said, our number 1 thing is saving lives.
You're talking about, you know, finding that moment when you can really break through and get someone to kind of reconsider and, you know, think about the consequences. But what can we do, you know, more broadly? I think someone mentioned, you know, you said you wanted to chill, but you couldn't chill, right? So what has to change in order when you have that moment to enable kids to get out of it? Right, so that, do you understand my question? Yeah. There's 2, there's the individual piece and there's like, how can we help and make it okay to get out of it?
Well, once again, I'm gonna go back to the father of my answer. It'll be Eric answer, you know. One of the things that he realized with one of the programs that he was dealing with is always have them doing something positive, right? We always want our kids to grow up, but this is where the catch-22 come in. Your kid will do something that's adult thing to do, right? And we're telling them that they need to stay in a child place. And then when they do something that's a child, we tell them then they need to grow up. But the real part is that we're not giving them places where they could do the things at so they could be what they need to be. So, you know, a lot of people came to us before and they was like, you know, we're gonna open up gyms, this and that and that. But if you don't begin the process of healing, it really ain't no way that you could begin to start helping them because they hurt. They 14-year-old kid, best friend died at the age of 13. He just get to go to school. When other kids get killed, they get the whole big treatment, the service, the therapy, all that, but our kids gotta go to school. So the one thing that we always tell people when we out in the street is that you can help. All you got to do is start speaking to them.
That's real deep right there. Seriously, and I wish this auditorium was packed with young people. Seriously, because this is for them, and this is something that they need to hear. And that's a good question you ask, because when I look at when a young person's in a conflict, when they more leaning to the side of hurting another individual, a human being, what do you tell them? How do you work with that person? And for me, it's different strategies. I mean, I fell in some situation where they so heated, you know, you got one going against the other. I might be like, yo, shorty, listen, man, you know the camera's on you, so they gonna know you did it. And they gonna like, oh yeah, the camera's on me, let me get back to sin, and they leave. If you could get a person to leave at that point and then try to like meet them at another point to kind of like resolve the situation, then you did your job. So it's different ways. No, we might go in the hospital sometime and a person is shot or stabbed or beat up real bad and they contemplating on retaliating when they get out. No, we talk to them. And we try to register something in their mind, you know, when they wounded, because they say a wounded tiger is dangerous. And a lot of our young people, you know, we have an animalistic mentality. We think that it's all right to, you know, look for prey, quote unquote, and to be violent. This is the training that we get from our rough upbringing. So when a person is lying in a bed, ready to react and to respond, you know, we try to get them, you know, good word that's going to change their mind state. You don't have to do this. No, think about your family. No, your mother was just in here crying over you, hoping you live, no, hoping you made it through that surgery. Get a person to think. Get a person to, you know, feel their own emotions. A lot of times as young people, we do not know how to process our own emotions. We do not know how to feel because we was never taught that way. And I think that's something we need to get back to, you know, as parents, as mentors, as motivators. We need to start putting that even in the curriculum in school, this on emotions. Help our kids learn how to process their own emotions.
Well.
Because if we learn how to feel, then we know what empathy is. A lot of us know what apathy is. You know, how to have a lack of regard for other people. That's all we know. We grew up that way. That was a major principle. Don't care. You know, my mother told me when I was young, if someone hit you, pick up something and bust them upside the head. How many people was told that? That's the training we get. As opposed to saying, you know what, when you go out there, somebody fall, pick them back up. Pick them back up. It's so hard to do that. It's so hard to resolve a conflict because what our own individual pride and our own upbringing of being violent and being misunderstood. We have to get back in tune with, you know, building everyone up. They say hurt people hurt people. That is a true statement. So that's something we got to get back to, and that's a lot of things that we do. I see a lot of other organizations doing the same thing. We try to help people feel. It sounds simple, but it's so hard. It sounds simple, but it's so hard to do because from 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th grade, we are trained to do the opposite. So that's what we got to get back to.